Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, dude, we are getting some extra read all about it level updates in regards to the biggest trade that we had seen on trade deadline day. The Mikko Rantanen to Dallas Stars swap, wherein the Carolina Hurricanes retained 50% and acquired a boatload of draft picks, a boatload of great assets, Logan Stankoven on top of that too. But the Dallas Stars, with their extension in place, were able to get Mikko Rantanen, and they signed him. They brought him on. He'll be playing with Roope Hintz and Jason Robertson. That is fantastic. But as with all the other trade deadlines we have seen in the past, after the deadline completes itself, we always have the stories. We have the trickling in information as to what happened, what was close to happening, what people wanted to happen, and what did not end up happening. So, let's go over some of the extra news, the fallout, the info about the Mikko Rantanen trade situation, and how he could have gone to some certain Canadian teams. This show is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Go out there and check out that first link in the description to save some money on your VPN, get some free months, and support this YouTube channel all in the process. Let's go over onto a tweet made by Ryan Rishog, first and foremost, because this was posted earlier this morning that the Edmonton Oilers took a huge swing yesterday. Sources say that Rantanen had interest in coming to Edmonton, and things were well down the path of an extension being agreed to. The dollars were north of what Dallas signed him for. In the end, the trade assets weren't there to get it done. It also sounds like the Oilers were in on Rickard Rakell of the Penguins and Ryan Donato of the Chicago Blackhawks. So with that in mind, okay, are we all of a sudden learning now that Mikko Rantanen had significant interest to go to the Oilers? This other tweet from Puck Empire says the Oilers were reportedly far down the line in extension talks with Rantanen, and he had serious interest in joining them. In the end, the Oilers just did not have the assets to match up with the Dallas Stars. The Stars had so much. They gave Carolina a boatload of stuff for Mikko Rantanen. 50% salary retained, okay, I understand it. Like, it makes sense why they were able to get a haul for Rance. But to hear that Rantanen was involved in the Oilers conversations too, he wanted to play with McDavid, he wanted to play with Draisaitl, there would have been an extension that would have given him more money than what McDavid is making right now. I'm assuming, right, McDavid's making 12.5. If Rantanen had a contract on the table with Edmonton that was more than what Dallas gave him, I'm just going to assume over 12.5, right? That would have been crazy. But just to hear that the Oilers did not have the assets to make a trade work and to compete with the Dallas Stars, that's got to be a heartbreaker right there, man. For an Oilers team that was already on a little bit of a slump, people are complaining about their goaltending, people are complaining about their guys not stepping up outside of McDavid and Draisaitl. Heck, even McDavid has gone through a little bit of a tough stretch these past few weeks. That is an absolute bomb that was waiting to go off between the Oilers and the Carolina Hurricanes. It almost happened, folks. And now it's off the table because Rantanen has signed that extension with the Dallas Stars. Now, this is not the only piece of Mikko Rantanen quote-unquote trade fallout news, because just a few minutes ago, Elliot Friedman posted a bombshell of an article on sportsnet.ca. Take a look at this. Hurricanes asked for Mitch Marner in a Rantanen trade. Post-deadline, there are always stories seeping out. Some things that don't happen, some that did. One that continues to evolve is what happened before Mikko Rantanen was traded from Carolina to Dallas. Sportsnet's Nick Kyprios reported Friday that Toronto offered Easton Cowan, Fraser Minten, and 2 first-rounders to Carolina in exchange for Rantanen. The Hurricanes chose to accept the Stars package around Logan Stankoven, valuing him higher. But according to multiple sources, Carolina had another target. The Hurricanes initially asked for Marner in return for Rantanen. Because it was for Rantanen, the Maple Leafs had to consider it. They told the winger their desire is to sign him, but they had to ask in this case. As is his right, Marner declined to move, reiterating his desire to stay. Neither the Maple Leafs, the Hurricanes, nor Marner's agent Darren Ferris would comment, but that could have been the biggest blockbuster of the week. Rantanen got traded for multiple firsts and picks and Logan Stankoven. Imagine if he got traded for Marner. Not even like 1-for-1. I don't know if it's all too feasible to guarantee that. Maybe you could say there's a few extra things on the Toronto side because Rantanen at 75% salary retained total would probably be more valuable than Marner, even though they're both contracts that are expiring at the end of the year. But hearing that the Toronto Maple Leafs already thought about it, they had to ask the guy, hey, we're thinking of trading you for Rantanen. Would you go to Carolina? And he's like, no, I don't want to go to Carolina. I want to stay here. That, of course, had the potential to be a total blockbuster caliber move on trade deadline day yesterday. It is kind of a shame that we did not see any super top-tier superstar get swapped around for Rantanen. Not to say that Logan Stankoven is not that, or that he doesn't have the potential to become that, but a Marner for Rantanen swap would have torn the roof off the house. There are some other conversations that I've seen bring themselves up because of this Marner-Rantanen thing, too. I'm seeing some folks going out there and saying, like, oh, this means that Toronto doesn't know if they're going to be able to re-sign Marner. If they're so interested or they were open to the idea of trading Marner away, then it automatically means that they are uncertain that he actually does want to stay, even though he has reiterated his interest. They don't think they're going to be able to re-sign him. They think they could get Rantanen to a deal instead, because Rantanen could be maybe cheaper than Mitch Marner, and that's an entire other topic in its own right. But this is where we start to dive into some of the what-ifs, man. Edmonton or Toronto grabbing onto Mikko Rantanen. A part of me is really happy that he went to the Dallas Stars because it's like, hey, he can stick it to the Colorado Avalanche in the division. He's always going to be there in that rivalry, in that fight. For 8 years, he's going to be a Dallas Star for so long. We wouldn't have seen that if he went over to Toronto or to Edmonton, but just seeing Mikko Rantanen in Canada, seeing Mikko Rantanen go from playing from one wing with McKinnon to one wing with Connor McDavid and Draisaitl, that would have been crazy. To see him go from playing with Nathan McKinnon to Austin Matthews. There were two top-tier centers in the National Hockey League that Mikko Rantanen could have had the opportunity to play for. Not to disrespect Rupe Hintz or anything, but he's not Austin Matthews, he's not Nathan McKinnon, he's not McDavid. So Rantanen getting that chance, you know, he suited up with Aho, didn't really look all too good in the Carolina system. He had the chance to go back to a top-tier superstar center. Instead, he's in Dallas, which I get they are a deeper team than Toronto and Edmonton. I'd say that Dallas is like 1 or 2 in terms of cup favorites right now. They're so good. But imagine Rantanen with McDavid, man. Just imagine the point production. Imagine how hard carried they'd have to be by that one line in order for them to finalize their results. I mean, Rantanen at 2-point-something million doesn't really add much on the cap, so you can still have your depth elsewhere. But to hear that the assets couldn't get it done for Edmonton and that Marner didn't want to get moved in Toronto, it does make a lot of sense to me. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below about all this Mikko Rantanen trade talk, how the Oilers were super close to getting him, how he wanted to go to Edmonton, how Toronto, they had to deal with Mitch Marner saying no in a trade. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section about all these trade updates with Rantanen. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.